Hi,
Hello,
Dad. Welcome to our channel. My name is Sam.
My name is...
Did you get it? Context clues? This is Ryan.
Oh. Just wanted to change it up a little, you know?
Yeah, just let them guess.
Yeah. For anyone who's new to our channel, they'll be like, what? But for anyone who has been here before, gotta break up the habit, break up the routine.
Yeah, welcome. Look at us in a new location.
Expect the unexpected, yeah.
I know.
New video, new location, new intro with me not saying my name. It's just like, who are these people? What is about to happen? Well, I'll tell you what's about to happen.
Tell us what's about to happen.
We're trying something new.
Yeah.
Happy Wednesday video. Our Wednesday videos are usually, you know, engaging with the community in some way, shape, or form. And don't you worry your little tushies, because that is absolutely going to continue. We love doing that. But, we're big fans of, like, Danny Gonzalez. I know you are more familiar with the YouTube space than me.
Yes, I love Danny Gonzalez. Danny Gonzalez, Drew Gooding, Cody Ko are some of my favorite content creators, but more specifically, some of my favorite commentary creators on YouTube. Danny Gonzalez is, like, everything. I think he's so funny.
Fun fact, Danny Gonzalez calls his entire fan base Greg. And us calling our entire fan base Daddy is a hybrid of a request from the fans and also from the Greg of it all.
From the Greg of it all.
So, shout out to Danny. Hey, you should shout out our channel. That's definitely going to happen. He watches us all the time.
Totally. So today, if you haven't guessed it already, we are doing our first commentary video.
Oh my god, that's crazy. Where is the roof on this thing? How high can they go?
How high can we go? How many roofs do we have?
Oh, just you shatter one ceiling and there's another ceiling to replace. We'll cut this part out.
That's kind of sad.
With these commentary videos, sometimes we'll be talking about, you know, social issues, politics, current events. But most of the time, we're just going to talk about stuff that we want to talk about.
We'll talk about fun, weird, niche things we see on the internet that, yeah, we want to bring attention to, whether that is something like a movement we actually want to talk about, or if it's something weird we saw on the internet that we want to joke about.
You know what I want to talk about?
What?
I want to talk about those little things. Sloan and Torrance have one. They're those little rubber boys.
Yes! That you try and hold on to?
Yes, and they slip out of your hand and they're oddly phallic for a child's toy.
Yes.
I want to talk about those. What are those? Where did they come from? Why?
We'll talk about that in another video.
I can't wait.
Save it for the video.
Well, so like and subscribe because that hot content is on its way. But today we're not talking about a slippery, slidey little phallic toy.
Nope.
But it will get phallic a little bit, in a sense, kind of. You know, we're talking we're talking about penises sometimes.
Maybe.
This is a terrific segue.
Yeah, it's great. Today, we are talking about SuperStraight.
Boo hiss. Obviously, this was kind of a big deal on TikTok and Reddit and places of the like a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
We held off from talking about it, frankly, because we didn't want to add fuel to the fire, and we'll get sort of to that and to our philosophy about that a little later in the video. But we want to talk about this for, gosh, just a whole host of reasons.
Yeah, but before we get into those, I think we should define what SuperStraight is, in case you don't know. Maybe you missed this on the internet, and I'm jealous of you.
Me too.
Coming straight from Urban Dictionary, the definition of SuperStraight is a straight person who only dates people that were born with the opposite gender.
So someone who doesn't date trans people.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is where this all came from. Was from a content creator that we will not name, making the point that they don't want to date trans people and are tired of being called transphobic for that. So they decided that they are super straight and that is a new sexuality.
Woof. Obviously, we, could show you some content of these super straight people or, the guy who invented the super straight movement, but we're not going to. We just kind of, as a policy, refuse to give people or things like this any oxygen. And that actually is a great segue into the first point that we want to make about this. It's unfair to even call this a movement.
Yeah.
It's an anti-movement. It's like All Lives Matter or Blue Lives Matter or vegophobia. And yes, that's a real thing. It's the aversion to or hatred of vegans. That's an actual movement. What are people doing? Whole other video. These are conservative-minded people who, I'm sorry, but they're usually uneducated, they're generally privileged, and they create these types of anti-movements, I think, to bring the attention back to them. Because they feel that you know, the attention that was on them, they've ceded some of their spotlight to, like, other issues, and that's not fair. But they haven't lost anything. Like, white people aren't disenfranchised because of their whiteness. Cis people aren't disenfranchised because of their cisness. Straight people aren't disenfranchised because of their straightness.
And also, you don't become disenfranchised because
other people become
franchised.
Yes.
Did that make sense? I think it did.
Except you said franchise.
Franchised, which isn't what I meant.
That's what happens to McDonald's.
Yeah, McDonald's becomes franchised. You get what I meant.
So these aren't movements. They're not trying to win rights they never had. They're trying to get attention that they feel like they've lost. Or they're trying to just crap all over other movements that aren't about them. That's why I call them anti-movements, okay? I think anti-movements are either about owning the libs because they think it's funny, trolling the weak because they think it's easy, or, let's be honest, getting attention because they're petty. And as such, the best thing that you can do when the privileged conservative bloc starts mouthing off on the internet about their new movement that they started, whether it's the SuperStraight movement or All Lives Matter, is to just ignore them. Yes. I know that it's outrageous and offensive, and I know, like, it feels like you have this moral responsibility to fight them, to duet them on TikTok, and give them a piece of your mind. The algorithm of these social media sites doesn't know the difference between positive and negative attention, so when you interact with it, you're actually helping to spread their message. That's the terrible thing of why trolling is so effective, and these people are trolling you. So if you give them an inch, they end up getting a mile. That's why these people are best ignored, and that's why we're not going to show you who they are or show you any of their content, because they don't deserve it.
And by the way, there's no such thing as being super straight. Just like there's no such thing as being super gay.
Super gay.
I'm super gay. You're just gay. Someone who is perceived as being super gay, that has nothing to do with their sexuality. That's just an observation and critique of their behavior. Like, he loves theater and only dresses in pink. He's super gay. But really what you're saying is just he's more flamboyant than usual.
Yeah.
That doesn't make him any more prone to sleep with men.
Right.
In the same way that being obsessed with football doesn't make you any more prone to sleeping with women. In fact, you probably have a harder time because who gives a about Aaron Rodgers' stats or the New England Patriots? Like, no one cares. And yes, sexuality is a spectrum, but the spectrum is between dating exclusively this gender or that gender. Everything between those two poles is the gray area. It's not like the gray area keeps going into having super preferences. A preference is a preference. You either prefer it a little or you prefer it all the way. There's nothing beyond that. The gray between black and white is in the middle. It doesn't keep going off the sides.
And it really doesn't take that long to figure out all of the ways why this is so stupid. The super straight movement is predicated on not wanting something.
Mm-hmm.
I am super straight, that is my identity, and therefore I do not date trans people. That's not an identity, that's not a preference. If I'm gay, the defining feature of my homosexuality isn't that I don't date women, it's that I do date men. Saying that you are something based on what you don't do is not how we have ever defined sexuality or sexual preference.
It's not how we've defined anything. I just thought about, like, if someone asks what you do for a living, do you say all the things you don't do?
Well, I'm not an accountant.
I'm not a fireman. I'm not a plumber.
There has never in the history of ever been a sexual movement or awakening based on what someone doesn't want. It's always based on what they do want.
And of course you can have preferences. If you're sexually attracted to penises, and someone, regardless of their orientation or individual preferences, doesn't have one, that's okay. You just happen to not sleep with that person. But some trans people have vaginas. So again, We're not talking about transness.
Right.
We're talking about genitalial preference?
Genital preference.
Genital preference.
Yes. Genitalial.
Marbles preference.
What?
These people just want to exclude trans people because they're bullies. There are plenty of trans people who have exactly what these people claim to prefer. They're just afraid of them because they're prejudiced or misinformed.
Yeah.
Straight people, you can breathe easy. The trans movement does not mean trans people are hopping over your fences and trying to get you in bed.
Oh, phew.
They just want to exist without constantly being singled out or shamed or bullied.
Wow, that just, I don't know, that seems like they're asking for too much,
what
honestly.
A concept.
Yeah.
How dare they?
And where is this transphobia coming from, by the way? Trans people make up 1% of the nation, and 80% of Americans have not even met a trans person in real life. So, what? I mean, come on, can we just say it? This is the cis version of All Lives Matter.
Yes.
These people can't stand that we're just having conversations that have nothing to do with them every once in a while. Even though straightness and cisness are woven into every societal and cultural fabric of the world we live in, they're so fragile about the fact that people who are different from them are just taking up like a tiny sliver of the pie that used to be all theirs. I mean, Jesus Christ, for claiming to be super, they sure lack confidence. No one is taking anything away from you by existing or asking to be treated fairly. If you are cis and male in this country, you couldn't have asked for a better dice roll. Add white to that, and it's literally 3 sevens on a slot machine. You don't need a movement to get attention. You've always been on top of the societal, economic, cultural, and sexual totem pole. Always. You've always gotten the attention. Any attention you've ever wanted, you've literally always gotten it. So maybe, instead of being so uptight about something you know nothing about, maybe just like dip your toes in the pool and try something new. I guarantee you these trans people you're so afraid of know their body way better than you ever will, and they will probably turn you the out in the bedroom. Now, just an interesting point, or I guess probably something that's like a relevant part of this conversation, is that TikTok has banned the hashtag SuperStraight. I believe that they kicked the person off of the platform who invented the whole thing.
Yeah.
And Reddit there was like a subreddit with 30,000 users that has also been banned for the SuperStraight movement. So, did this just like run its course and now it's gone? Like justice for everyone? What's your take on that?
It's kind of hard to say. I think my knee-jerk reaction is, I think for the most part it has run its course. However, anytime social media platforms take a stance and ban people, they always run the risk of pushing those people to the other dark corners of the internet, like 4chan. Like, so I'm sure on 4chan or Parler, there's like a huge super straight movement with probably like Trump merchandise on it or something.
Yeah.
Like, that's just always the risk. Like when people try to crack down on hate speech, if you consider this, those people are always going to have other places to go as well. It's interesting to think about, like, okay, if TikTok and Reddit didn't ban anything, would this really just have run its course and it wouldn't have gone anywhere?
Well, right.
There's no way of knowing.
To use a very apropos metaphor, it's a 2-shot vaccine.
Yeah.
You let them stay on the platform, but you ignore them completely. Because then what happens is they go, oh, all of this attention that I was hoping to get, I'm not getting. Maybe this is pointless and maybe I should just shut up and try to get attention for playing guitar. You know what I mean? Ignoring this and just letting it run its course is probably better than banning it, because that gives them attention too. Yeah. Oh, our movement was so important. Now, we're being censored by the...
Our voices are being silenced.
Right, by the Hillary Clinton leftist organizations that mean to do us harm. It's like, so you've actually vindicated them. Yeah. If you just let them do it but ignore them, they go away. This is like rule number 1 about bullies, people.
So moral of the story, this isn't a real movement, so you should give it as much attention as it deserves. None. Now, if you are in the LGBTQ plus community and you feel singled out and targeted by all of this, of course you do. It is an attack.
Yeah, you're being attacked, absolutely.
And we are not trying to trivialize that at all. What we're trying to say is, instead of directing our attention and resources at trying to tear them down, we should actually be lifting you up.
T.
Disengage with those people and engage with people who will empower and uplift you. We are out here, we exist in huge numbers, and we are ready to support you. Ignoring people on the wrong side of history is the fastest way to clue them in on which side of the line they're standing on.
That's our take on the Super Straight movement. Thank you so much for watching. A small caveat, if this has made you curious about the movement, just be very judicious about how you do your research about it. Don't empower the movement by seeking it out.
Yeah.
Empower the people who are talking about the movement, but in a way that is safeguarding the rights and protections of LGBTQ plus people, and support their work rather than helping the bad guys. We hope you enjoyed our first little stab at a commentary video. Please let us know in the comments what you want to hear us address next. And the stupid or the better. We know this is more of like a heady, serious one. We love doing heady, serious stuff, but we love being goofballs too.
We love being goofballs. So give us any weird thing you found on the internet and we would love to talk about it.
Oh, I want to do the gel things.
Yes. Yeah, I remember. Okay. We'll talk about the gel things. Daddy, again, thank you so much for watching. As always, be sure to like and subscribe.
We started on the same page.
We did. That was good.
I wonder what that meant. You think that is a G?
I couldn't tell you.
That's my guess.
Thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you guys on Friday.
Bye, Daddy.
Bye.
YouTube.
YouTube.
Commentary videos. Oh, Danny Gonzalez, follow us.